Hey guys, so another one. Now, this is another leak, but people are saying that this is possibly more likely true, um, given something that we're about to read that's actually happening. And this was actually 3 days before the announcement for this. When we're get to that part. So they obviously had some clue. I mean, people can say, "Oh, it's just a lucky guess." Is it? But there's no name, no nothing, just small details. And when it comes to leaks, this is usually how they are. All those other ones that go into way too much, just in depth and descript, uh, details about it. I mean, most of the time if it's a leak, if unless it's from someone who worked directly on it, like part of the company, most of the people, if they're testing it, they're just going to see small parts of it or a presentation, and they're not going to have all these details that some of these have. But again, it doesn't have a name in this one. It's just yes, Dragon Isles. 5 zones: blue, red, green, bronze, surrounding black zone in center. Center has a huge tower like Wormrest, but massively bigger. There's one very large island off coast, and a few small ones. Now, if there's a few small ones, chances are we get to visit those. Probably nothing major, unless it's like one of those. You get a quest and you have to go over there to collect something, and they usually do that with small islands. It's like, oh well, what's this island used for? Oh, it's for a quest. Leveling. Players align with a draconic house. A draconic house immediately when they start the expansion. Basically covenants, but there's no to little player power, all cosmetic, no covenant abilities, which I don't mind. Not everything needs to be about power. Some people just want cosmetics. You know, let's just look cool. If we're gonna be, going around and partying with dragons, the least we can do is look cool while we do it. Like, get my thing there. There we go. Um, Renown, Soulbind, mission tables are all in, but straight copy pasted from Shadowlands. They will likely be changed and or removed. There is anima type power to collect, so not anima, but just something similar um, to collect. Covenants have a shared pool of 4 separate. Oh wait, Covenants have a shared pool instead of 4 separate anima. Or 4 separate anima can also be spent on open world power-ups. So I'm sure that means like, oh, Demon Hunter, you know, 2% more, for this spell, or if you're a magic user, like, oh, this much uh, mana recovery, something like that. So when they say power-ups or increased health or something like that, that's kind of what I figure it would be. A linear story for leveling, but there are 4 variants based on which house you choose. Determines order that you go through leveling zones. Stories converge at 68, where you enter center zone, which sounds about right. You level, and then once you're pretty much max level or max level, you go to the end zone, essentially. Well, not end zone, but just to finishing up that level experience. Black Dragon Flight Zone Central Tower contains the big expansion system. It's sort of like Torghast, but each room is a single encounter with a mini boss or a group of enemies. No trash. So it seems like each room's going to be more of a big fight. It's not like you're going to go in there and fight trash like a raid boss, where you've got the boss waiting for you and you got all this trash. It's going to be like boss type. So you'll have several mini type bosses of the room, and then the main boss that you have to fight. That's what it sounds like if they say no trash. So that's what it sounds like to me. Some rooms also have a non-combat event challenge. So maybe like puzzle, like what you saw in there's a lot of actually puzzles that you would find throughout the world. Um, but, but, 'n' 'Agitar had a lot of them. Had a lot of puzzles. Um, or just like like with Legion, you had like those light puzzles, or was the wind puzzles, or not wind, but you had to like glide or something like that. Maybe something like that will be in there. Um, so it'd be nice to see a diverse uh, amount of content in the area rather than just go kill, 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 kill. You have to use your brain rather than just mindlessly killing things. You have a puzzle, and maybe it's a bit harder than normal. Make you really think. I think people would really, really like that. Complete a room and choose the next one from a branching tree. So basically, you have your map and you have a bunch of rooms, it sounds like, and then you beat one room, and then you have a choice of where you want to go. So you go, like, you start here, and then you'll have like three, and then you can choose which one you want to go to. And then all that will converge into the final battle with the big boss. So, I mean, it's really cool. And each room will be different, and then I think like probably like each time you go through, it's going to be different and like randomizes, and that could really, really be cool. um you can see type of encounter plus room award, i.e. anima power type, before choosing. Okay, so sounds like each room is going to have like fixed reward. So you can say, oh, well, I've already gotten that reward, so for that room, so I'm going to go to this room this time. And then once you complete that first, you're like, oh, I've gotten all those. Okay, now I can start branching with those other ones. Like, okay, I did that one last time, so I'm going to do this one this time. And you can kind of keep running it. So even if the randomness of the rooms happen, like as in the puzzles and this and that, it sounds like most likely the rewards will stay the same, which is really good. It won't get confusing. It's like, oh, well, I just did this last week and I was trying to get this, but now I got to wait. So hopefully, if this is real, that's how it goes. Really helpful for people who are, people who like maxing everything out. Like, well, I've completely done it, but then like each week it resets or something like that. Final boss at end, unsure of permanent rewards, legendaries, etc. tied to the system. It was more fun than Torghast in my very limited experience. So it looks like this person has a very small amount, but what they saw was that it was more fun than Torghast, which the way it sounds like it would be more fun than Torghast. People like Torghast, but people were like, yeah, it's getting dull after a while. But if you can take Torghast and make something new out of it and make it refreshing, and so it'd be like Torghast mixed with the Mage Tower or something like that. I think people would really like that. Cross faction is in. Now, this we know is actually happening in 9.2. And remember, this came out 3 days before the announcement from Blizzard. So cross faction is in, group through group finder only. Can only talk in party raid chat, but not in open world or public channels. No cross-faction guilds, which is exactly what they're doing. So I think if you want to cross-faction with, you don't have any friends on who are doing it, you have to use the group finder. But if you have friends who are, on your friends list who are the opposing faction, you can group up with them. If not, you have to use the finder. It's interesting. I mean, people have wanted that for a while. People still want to break that barrier between factions and all that. Be like, oh, well, I want to see orcs in the Alliance and Draenei in the Horde, and that's not going to happen anytime. At least I don't think it will. No new class, which I'm disappointed about. Talk of adding tank specs to some pure TPS classes. Hunters and Warlocks were being worked on. Doubt this will actually make it to release. I mean, when you think about it, Warlocks are kind of already pseudo tanks. They have their Void Walker, which takes huge amount of damage. I mean, most of the time, whenever I've been in a raid or dungeon and the tank is left, they use the Warlocks if there's enough of them, because they can If they're well spec'd and good enough gear, yeah, no problem. But I think they just want to make it a solid tank spec rather than like a pseudo one where it's like, okay, well, you know, my demons are still taking a lot of damage and I have to heal them way more than need be. But I don't think any of us really want to see that. Hence why they said doubt this will actually make it. They're probably testing something like that, but I would doubt if it actually happens. I mean, I certainly don't want to see hunters and that's like, oh yeah, my mage can tank. It's like, why? Why? But why though? Yeah, this was a month ago, so I have no idea if anything has changed since then. But that was how it was when I saw it. You couldn't even join group with opposite faction using normal invite to group. Everything had to be through Group Finder, apply/invite UI. A couple of other things I forgot to mention. Main city is on the border of green and black zones, shared by both factions. Huge gate-style entrance, which is draconic carved stone-style appearance. Same architecture and structure as the structure in the center of the map. Was one huge mega city in the past, but the part between the tower and current town is destroyed and ruins, and is part of the center zone open world area. Did not see a single mention of Sylvanas or Tyrande, but many story and quest elements were not implemented. So it looks like they basically got to see a rough draft of this whole place. Blue, red, and bronze zones were really barren and didn't have much content in them yet. So they're like Silithus. Green and black were more fleshed out, considering green is where you start and black is where you end. So naturally, they want to make sure that that stuff's up to par. Green is the first zone you enter after the intro quest scenario, which was not implemented. All right, y'all, I drew a beautiful map from memory for you. Please don't NFT it. Okay, so we have got the map. So we have A is where we come in, right there. We have B, which is the green area where we kind of get a lay of the land. C is the main town. We got the arch, the architecture there, which he said bordered the black and green. D, the tower, which is like Wormrest, but really much bigger. E, Caverns of Time style place when first raid happens. Starts outdoors, but moves inside for second half. Infinite Dragonflight are the enemies. Sounds like that really could be fun. Now, I know I saw Taliesin react to this. Zul'Farrak style outdoor troll dungeon. Now, he said he kind of doubts it, but think of the Troll Empire. What happens when it was all one big continent before the Well of Eternity, exploded? Look at every continent we go to. There are trolls of different, races and species on those islands or those continents. Northrend, Pandaria, Eastern Kingdoms, Kalimdor, the Forgotten Isles or Broken Isles, you name it, there's trolls there because of when everything was one big place. Well, what if the Dragon Isles were part of all that before the land exploded? It'd be very possible for there to be a troll settlement of some kind. Look at, like I said, Pandaria. The Zandalari trolls are there. You really don't see trolls throughout the entire place of Pandaria, but then you have where the Thunder King is, and then you've got Zandalari style ruins. So it's very possible that there's trolls on the Dragon Isles. It's very possible, considering how expansive their empire was. So he says he doubts it. I don't. If you know the trolls, and you know their lore, and you know that they pretty much covered all of the continent before it just ripped apart, you'll know that it's very possible that there could be trolls here. Mountain, so G is right there. Mountain with Nexus Oculus style structure built on it will be a dungeon, which makes sense because the Blue Dragonflight, magic, and arcane and all that. So they would most likely have some kind of structure that gathers arcane energies or disperses or purifies or whatever the case may be. Each giant scar that runs from the edge of town across the tower into Blue Zone, Nether Storm, Twilight looking stuff. So it seems like since it's in the blue area for the most part, whatever it is, it's like maybe corrupted the magic there. Hence why one reason for that tower. That way you can draw that in and purify whatever is corrupting it. Didn't get a look at the red dragon zone, separated from the main landmass, which is down there at the bottom. Don't know what the big island off the east coast, and that's the one right there with the question mark. The red one will probably be part of the leveling experience. Probably just have to fly there, because everywhere else you can run to. But seems like right there you kind of have to fly or transport or something. And then you have right up there, I would guess that probably be end game content with a raid or something special there. So, I mean, it could just be a regular island, you know. But since we have all the dragonflights represented here, you know, here's a fun recompilation of There Will Be Dragon Fleets. I do find these ones kind of interesting. They're keeping up with their claim. The continent, landmass, islands seem fun. Yeah, I agree. I mean, if this was true, this seems more believable than the other ones we've read. And given the fact of this, 3 days before Blizzard announced it, like I said, they could have gotten lucky, but this is actually how it's working. So it's some kind of credibility to it. Gives information, but not like, oh yeah, the cinematic, this happens, and oh, then we didn't. No, just small, vague details from saying, oh yeah, this is just what we were shown or what I had a chance to do. Which, when leaks happen, this is how it is. You don't. If you're just like an alpha tester or you know, whatever, you're not going to have this huge mass of knowledge about what you're doing. You're going to have some things and you're going to be like, oh yeah, I think it was like that. So this seems more believable. Like I said, no new class. Kind of upset about that. Taliesin said the same thing. When you think about the expansions that had new classes in them, some of the best, if not the best expansions. You had Wrath of the Lich King, which had Death Knights. You had Mist of Pandaria, which, for whatever people say about it, was a great expansion. Just that the drought at the end, where we were running Siege of Orgrimmar for like a year and a half. Yeah, but apart from that, the expansion was amazing. So, you know, you had the Monk, you also had the Pandaren as a new race, and then you have Legion, where we had the Demon Hunters, which, again, regarded as one of the best expansions. So, it's very possible that, you know, it's to be no new class, but it's possible that even with no new class, it still might be a really, I mean, just the idea of it. Now, Taliesin also said something about him contradicting, like saying, oh, you get to choose which way, but then you're kind of like at the green Dragonflight area first. Not necessarily. Remember what happened in Battle for Azeroth? You got there, Zandalar or Kol Tiras, you know, the main hub, and then you had to do stuff there, and then you went to the map and you got to pick where you went next. Basically, the green area is your main hub. It's where you're getting the lay of the land, finding out the stuff that's happening, finding out what you need to do, and stuff like that. And then once you're done, you get to kind of choose which path you want to go down. I have a feeling, if the way it sounds, it's going to be kind of like BFA, where you get to choose where you want to go first. You arrive, you get to party with the green dragons. If Rathion's there, he's like, yes, I've been trying to do this, and blah, 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 and restoration of the Dragon Isles and the dragon aspects and blah blah blah. Choose where you want to go, champion. Your aid will be greatly appreciated. And then you get to go where you want. But I don't find it contradicting. You're always going to have that zone where you start out, where you get, like I said, the lay of the land. So, but as for this, I mean, as crude as it looks, I mean, I like the layout. It looks simple enough. Of course, we're not taking into account all the mountainous regions, and I mean, obviously, this might be a lush area since it's a green aspect. Be like Tanaris right there for the bronze aspects, and maybe very desolate for the black dragon aspect. A lot of rigid mountains and stuff like that. A lot of snow or blue for the blue dragonflight, and then for the red dragonflight, fire. Maybe it's a volcano type island. So, seeing it on this type of map is one thing, but then seeing it rendered in game in its full glory and beauty. So, I mean, I can see it. If it actually happens, if this is actually true, it looks like a really cool story to tell. The Dragon Isles and trying to unite the dragons and stuff like that. But it's all just take it with a grain of salt type thing right now. The only thing that gives it any credibility really is, like I said, this. So, will it happen? I don't know. Do I hope it happens? Kind of. Looks really cool. But like I said, the stuff that Taliesin pointed out easily disproved. Like he said about the whole like, oh, he contradicted himself when he said, we get to choose which way. It's like, no, he didn't. He didn't contradict himself. You always have a starting area, and then once you get caught up to speed, and then you kind of go where you want. You can stay right there and choose, because that's what happened with Battle for Azeroth. You didn't have to go to anywhere else. You could stay there in Zandalar, Kulturas, and begin your questing first there, and then branch out to the others. So very same thing. And then, like I said, what he said about the whole troll empire, or the troll ruins right there, I don't think he was taking into account the trolls and how massive their empire was. You gotta remember, there was one continent at first. So, and they covered pretty much all of it. So, it is very possible that it's there. But, yeah, let me know what you guys think. If this does turn out to be true, are you, about the no new class? And if you could add a class that would be relevant to this, what would it be? Let me know all that. And, yeah. I'm done here. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.